Hello, folks. In this video, I'm going to talk about lending things to people, right? So, I'm just going for a walk after a heavy meal, so I thought I'll just make a video while I do this walk because it's hard to get time to make videos. So, about lending things, right? For example, today a colleague was asking me to lend my ID card to him, and I've had this before also. Like for example, in my previous companies and all that, like, hey, can you give me an ID card? Like, so because they say kept their ID card somewhere, they missed it and whatnot, or like they have some issue and they need the ID card. And the thing is this. Usually in corporates and in general, an ID card is like for your identity. For example, when I used to work in this company called VMware, the ID cards didn't have any information on it. It was just a plain card. It had one ID, a unique number for it, an ID for the ID card in software terms. It had a unique number. I mean, that is just for someone to read it just through naked eyes. But it need not have that too, because it was a special sort of card which had I think some information in it in the form. I think it's a magnetic strip or like some sort of thing in it, or RFID. I don't know what it had, but it had something in it. It was a thick card. Okay, a single unit. It was not anything else. A thick card, a single unit card. That's all. Like you can only probably just break it. I think. I don't know what's there inside it, but from outside it'll just look like a single unit, like a single stone or something. So and you can use this card to just enter premises and all. And when you actually join the company, they'll actually put in information about you in that card and then give it to you. The moment you use it anywhere, it'll actually get tracked that it was you. So in many cases it might not. In some cases it will be, I think. Because in many cases you just need to enter, say, the office and all that. Say any VMware office you want to enter, you can just put in this card and you'll be able to enter, I think. But to enter into some specific premises and all, it will check the identity, I think. Or if you are some specific, like it's like the authentication versus authorization kind of concept in software engineering, if you know that. Basically, authentication is just about like who are you. So it's just to say that, hey, I'm Karpaya and like I'm working in VMware. So if the door that needs access, if it's just about like, you just need to be part of VMware, so then they won't probably be tracking and keeping track of like who came in, who went and whatnot. It's just, I guess, I'm not sure though. I guess it'll just allow you in. But it would be nice and great if they just track who you are, because in case of emergency situations like say fire emergency, it's important to track who came in, so that once the fire emergency is over and done, like problems are done over, you go and check the exit area, fire emergency exit area, and understand the people who entered, did they come to the fire exit, like the emergency zone, the fire exit zone, like where you're outside the building and like outside the premises and in a safe place. Like if I put my ID card, it'll say Karpaya on it, and if it's tracked and they track all the names who have entered the office that day at some particular time, at some particular time, which is before the fire emergency event, let's say, then they would look, and of course you would be using fire emergency exits, most probably not the usual exit or usual entrance. So when you start using fire emergency exits, you won't be actually keeping your card and all to exit. You won't need some ID card or whatever to exit. You'll just exit the premises. People will later check all the logs of from the records, seeing who entered the building before say 4 p.m. Assuming 4 p.m. was when the fire happened, or let's say the fire happened at 4:30 or 4:05 or 4:06 p.m. whatever, right? They check way beforehand who entered, like or even who entered before 5 p.m. right? So that they even know people who entered at like say exactly at 4:05, or someone who entered after say 4:06, 4:07 or whatever, right? Like just look at some time and then be like, who all entered before this time? Are they all here in my emergency zone? So they'll take quickly a printout and look at it, or just look at it like look at it on a screen and see if everyone has actually come out of the building, right? If this is not there, then they'll have to use something like a register wherein manual register, a physical register wherein every time someone enters they actually write down the name of the person who's entering in and all. So that time what happens, like you have to maintain your register and all. That's annoying, but yeah, so now you understand like some important reasons of why ID cards exist, and and of course to give you access to some specific places and all that, and to show that you are part of some organization and all, right? So in this case, my colleague was asking, hey, can you give me an ID card and whatnot? So this case was like he wanted to go out or something and he needed my ID card. Interestingly, in this case, my ID card is like just a simple card. It has some of my information written on it and my photo and all that. It has nothing encoded on the ID card and all. But in VMware, for example, when I was working, it has information encoded inside it, and they can use it to get access to some place, and it will actually track that it was me. So in any case, let's say I lend the ID card, let's say when I'm in VMware, right? Then they can actually use it to go to some place, and then later someone might just ask me, hey, Karpe, you were there. And I'll be like, no, I wasn't, or something like that, or I don't remember, but your logs, this says in the logs that you were there. And for example, let's say something is missing, and now you just become a suspect, right? So generally in VMware, there is a clear policy saying that you are not supposed to give your ID card to anyone, of course. And there are many safety rules clearly defined. So it's a pretty cool security guidelines and great company. So and if you are really a high level of person and all, like who has access to some premises that not everyone should have access to, then you should be really careful and wary of like giving your ID card to someone, right? So that's one of the problems with ID cards. For example, in my current company, they do face recognition and then accordingly give access. So there you can't exchange faces. In ID cards, you can exchange faces. Exchange ID cards. Like you can just give it, or like share your ID card and all that whatnot. And interestingly, in VMware, once you lose your ID card, you get another card, and the old card that is lost or misplaced gets actually deactivated. So those kind of interesting stuff happens. But anyways, so it's important that when you lend your ID card, you have to think about like, okay, it's a security issue, and second thing, if you lose it, now you have to go back and like lodge a complaint saying that I lost it. And if you lend your ID cards, if they lose it, you have to just go and lodge a complaint saying, hey, I lost my ID card, and then they'll ask you to raise a request to create a new ID card and whatnot. And then there's the whole process. Like the other person has no consequence to it really, and it doesn't make sense to really blame the other person that they lost your ID card and all. I would ideally just blame, like let's say I lent my ID card, I would just blame myself. I will be like, why the hell did I even give it in the first place if I don't want to lose it, right? So that's like the general theme wherein like I don't want to lose things, then just don't lend them as much as possible. Even in the worst case scenario, see if you can just not lend it. So don't lend your ID cards to someone. I'll create a separate video on generally in lending, because this one I made it very specific to ID cards while talking in the flow. I'll make a separate video on lending. But yeah, I mean, you have to look at like your ID card. For example, if in my current company, like if I give my ID card to go out and all, and to go out as in since it's face recognition, but to go out it's maintain my ID park and To go out, you just need to use that card, the other card which has this the face photo and whatnot. I don't know how my colleague was planning to use my ID card to show that he is part of this IT park, because it has my photo on it. Probably show it from far away and they won't recognize it or something, I don't know. Because here you just keep walking and you can just show it and just quickly keep it inside your pocket or something. But yeah, if someone catches, then they'll be like, why is my ID card with him and whatnot. So generally, I wouldn't recommend lending ID cards, sharing ID cards. If they have lost their ID card, ask them to get a new one. And if they don't have it on them, then again, ask them to figure it out, than lending it and then suffering when it's lost or something. And there's no point in blaming others when you can actually prevent problems yourself. And in most situations, ideally, I just never blame anyone other than myself, who can control my life to the most extent. If I can't control, I'll just be like, okay, I can't control it, but I could have done something else to prevent this and whatnot, and I could have controlled that. So I look at what relative stuff I could have controlled, what is the past that I could have controlled and all, and not the exact situation. Like I can't control someone losing my ID card, but I can control me lending my ID card to someone. So yep, that's what I want to talk about. I actually wanted to talk about especially lending in general. I'll talk about that, but I just wanted to give this anecdote. So I'll just make this as like lending ID cards and ID cards in general. Yeah.